What if the biggest things holding people back financially aren't these huge, complicated economic forces? What if it's actually the small, everyday habits we barely even think about? Well, today we're diving into a pretty controversial list of 15 habits that, according to one very popular source, are what really separate the poor from the rich. So that's the big question, right? What are the actual, tangible habits that make the difference? Is it all just luck and where you happen to be born? Or are there specific, repeatable actions that can genuinely change your financial destiny? Let's get into it. Okay, so just so we're all on the same page, the list we're breaking down comes directly from a video by the YouTube channel alux.com. Our job here isn't to agree or disagree, but to just lay out their perspective neutrally so you can really understand their argument. Now, Alux breaks this all down into a few key areas, and we're going to start with the most fundamental one, the mindset. This is all about the beliefs and attitudes you have on the inside, because that stuff shapes everything you do on the outside. This quote really kicks things off. They use the super relatable example of watching sports to make a much bigger point. Are you just watching life happen from the sidelines, or are you actually on the field, in the game? And here's how they frame it. The spectator, they have zero actual impact. They can yell at the TV all they want, but they're just criticizing. The player, or the owner, on the other hand, is taking action. They're the ones who can actually change the outcome. Alux claims this isn't just about sports, it's about your whole life. Okay, this is another huge mindset difference they point to. It's all about how you deal with things when they go wrong. Do you blame everyone and everything else, basically play the victim? Or do you look at that failure and go, okay, what can I learn from this so I don't mess up the same way again? And this quote, wow, it really hammers home the main idea of this whole section. It's blunt for sure, but the message is all about radical self-reliance. The idea that success isn't some prize you're entitled to. It's something you have to go out and earn, period. So, if that's the mindset, how does it actually show up in the real world? Well, let's move on to the next section, which is all about the tangible, everyday actions, the habits of daily life. So the source groups a few habits together that it basically calls distractions. We're talking about things like watching hours and hours of reality TV or celebrity gossip, consistently eating cheap, unhealthy fast food, and waking up late. The point isn't just that these are kind of bad for you, it's that they actively prevent you from performing at your best and eat up time you could be using to grow. Now, this next one was, it's a little surprising, maybe even a bit awkward. They claim that poor personal hygiene is a habit they found to be surprisingly common. Their logic? In a world that runs on service and interaction, this stuff directly impacts how people perceive you, whether they trust you, and ultimately it can limit your opportunities. And the last daily habit on their list is all about your health. The argument here is that skipping preventative care is just a massive, unnecessary gamble. An illness you catch early might be a manageable problem. But that same illness, caught years later, could become a total financial and personal disaster for you and your family. All right, let's get to the topic you've probably been waiting for, how you actually manage your money. What are the specific financial behaviors that Alux says make all the difference in the world? This is such a fascinating, kind of counterintuitive point. The source says that focusing on clipping coupons and finding sales is actually a poor mindset. Why? Because all your energy is spent on conserving tiny amounts of money. The rich mindset, they argue, puts all that same energy into expanding their total income instead. And this one is critical. No safety net. See, without savings, any little emergency, your car breaks down, you get a surprise medical bill, can send you spiraling into debt. But there's a second part to this problem. When a real opportunity comes along, you can't jump on it, which just keeps you stuck right where you are. Alux offers this dead simple two-step rule for using credit. Before you take out a loan for anything, you ask yourself one question. Will this purchase make me more money than it costs? If the answer is no, like say for a new TV or some fancy clothes, then you just don't do it. Use credit to buy assets, not liabilities. Okay, so we've got mindset, daily habits, and money management. Let's move into the final section and see how all this stuff comes together to shape your long-term future, starting with the people you hang out with. All right, take a look at this number, $250,000. What in the world do you think that represents? Well, that's roughly the cost of raising a single child in a developed country. And this is a huge point for Alex. They argue that having kids before you're financially stable creates this immense burden that makes it almost impossible to get ahead. The wealthy, they say, tend to wait until they can provide a much more stable foundation. And that leads right into this classic saying. The point here is all about your social environment. If you're surrounded by people who constantly reinforce bad habits and negative beliefs, it's going to be incredibly difficult for you to break free. You have to find a circle that inspires you and pushes you to be better. So, what's the ultimate failure from this point of view? It's not trying something and watching it crash and burn. Nope, the biggest failure is that business idea you never started, that book you never wrote. According to the video, all those ideas that never even get off the ground are the real failures. And to wrap things up, Alex throws in one final and very provocative bonus fact. They make the direct claim that, statistically speaking, poor people are a lot more religious than rich people. And the reason they give for this ties right back to that theme of self-reliance we talked about. They argue that successful people tend to believe that they are in control of their own lives, while the poor are more likely to hope that some outside, mythical force will step in and reward them or save them. So, after laying out all 15 of these points, the source material kind of leaves us with a final challenge. It turns the camera back on you, and it asks a very simple but really powerful question. Based on everything we've just talked about, what's one habit, just one, that you could change starting today?
Subscribe and hit the like button for more deep dive like this. Tell us what you think in the comment section.